In a brazen act of cultural insensitivity, the animated film Soul dares to trivialize and distort the sacred concepts of soul development, karma, and samsara. This isn't just creative liberty, it's a flagrant disregard for the profound spiritual beliefs held by millions. Masked as a whimsical picture of pre-birth soul traits, Soul not only misrepresents but mocks the intricate and revered cycles of birth, life, death, and rebirth that are central to Eastern philosophies. Today I will dissect and lay bare the numerous ways this film, under the guise of entertainment, undermines and belittles the concepts of personal responsibility, moral development, and spiritual growth. This film's narrative isn't just misaligned with established doctrines, it's an affront to them. We must scrutinize and challenge the alarming trend of popular media distorting spiritual truths for the sake of entertainment. It's time to confront this narrative head-on and expose the dangerous implications of such a misguided representation of the soul's journey. Soul isn't just a film, it's a cultural transgression that demands our critical attention and unapologetic censure. The traditional concept of reincarnation posits that soul traits are accumulated and refined through the experiences and actions of past lives. This perspective underscores a continuous experiential learning process where each incarnation is a chapter in the soul's evolutionary journey. Actions in each life are believed to have direct consequences, contributing to the soul's growth and its accumulation of karma. This process is deeply rooted in the principle of personal responsibility, where the soul's journey is a reflection of its past deeds and choices. In stark contrast, Soul introduces a luck-of-the-draw approach to soul development. Here, soul traits are not the culmination of experiential learning from past lives, but are seemingly assigned or developed in a pre-birth realm. This portrayal diverges significantly from the traditional cycle of karma and learning. It suggests a random or predetermined assignment of traits, independent of the soul's actions in previous incarnations. This concept challenges the foundational idea of karma as a cumulative process, replacing it with a notion of arbitrary or predestined trait allocation. The luck-of-the-draw approach, as depicted in Soul, fundamentally alters the traditional concept of karma. Karma in many Eastern philosophies is an intricate system of cause and effect where the soul's actions in one life directly influence its circumstances in subsequent lives. It's a mechanism that ensures a moral balance, holding the soul accountable for its deeds and promoting a journey towards spiritual enlightenment. By suggesting that soul traits are predetermined or developed independently of one's past actions, Soul negates this principle of moral causality. If soul traits are assigned without regard to previous lives, the concept of karma as a tool for moral and spiritual development becomes irrelevant. This portrayal potentially removes the element of personal responsibility, suggesting that the soul's journey is less about balancing past actions and more about navigating with a set of randomly assigned traits. Such a perspective could be seen as diminishing the role of karma in guiding the soul towards enlightenment, suggesting instead a more arbitrary or luck-based mechanism of soul development. Samsara in many Eastern philosophies represents the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth inherently tied to the law of karma. It is a concept that underscores the soul's journey through various incarnations, each life being a direct consequence of the actions in previous lives. This cycle is not merely a repetitive process, but a path of learning, growth, and eventual liberation, moksha. The soul's progression or regression within samsara is fundamentally governed by personal responsibility, the idea that one's choices and actions in each life shape the journey of the soul. The narrative presented in Soul, however, introduces a significant deviation from this concept. By depicting soul traits as predetermined or developed in a pre-birth realm, the film implies a form of soul development that is external to the lived experiences and actions of the individual. This portrayal can be seen as disrupting the samsara cycle, where traditionally each life's experiences are crucial for the soul's evolution. The film's approach suggests a scenario where the soul's journey and its traits are not the results of its actions in past lives, but rather are pre-assigned without any experiential basis. This diminishes the role of personal responsibility in the soul's development, potentially undermining the foundational principle of samsara as a cycle of moral and spiritual evolution based on personal deeds and experiences. The concept of personal responsibility is central to the traditional understanding of karma and samsara. It posits that individuals are accountable for their actions, and these actions directly influence their future, both in the current life and in subsequent reincarnations. This principle serves not only as a moral compass, but also as a motivator for ethical living and spiritual growth. The concept of personal responsibility stands as the bedrock of traditional karma and samsara, asserting that our actions indelibly stamp our future in this life and the next. This isn't merely a moral guideline, it's a profound directive that propels ethical behavior and spiritual evolution. Personal responsibility in this context is more than an idea. It's a critical mechanism for soul development and moral accountability. However, soul shatters this foundational principle. It audaciously suggests that soul traits and personalities are preordained, disconnected from one's past deeds. This isn't just a narrative twist, it's a dangerous oversimplification that strips away the essence of spiritual growth. If soul traits are preset, what becomes of the imperative for ethical living? Does this not render our choices and actions inconsequential to our spiritual journey? This narrative doesn't just challenge the concept of spiritual progress through self-effort and ethical conduct, it risks promoting a fatalistic worldview, where personal choice and moral action lose their significance in shaping spiritual destiny. This portrayal could lead to a disconcerting and nihilistic belief system where the pursuit of moral excellence is seen as futile in the face of predestined soul characteristics. The film's approach is not merely an alternative perspective, it is a direct affront to the millennia-old belief that our actions have profound spiritual repercussions. By neglecting the critical role of personal responsibility, soul doesn't just deviate from traditional teachings, it risks undermining the very fabric of moral and spiritual accountability. Finally, I must discuss the film implications for young minds' understanding of the basic concept of equality. In the rich tapestry of spiritual and philosophical thought, the birth of the soul is often envisioned as a pristine, unmarked beginning, a tabula rasa or blank slate. This ancient and widely held belief asserts that a soul is born devoid of inherent traits or predestined qualities, its essence shaped entirely by the crucible of life's experiences, decisions, and actions. Such a perspective not only values the physical realm and our interactions within it, but posits them as the very architects of the soul's character and morality. However, the narrative presented in Soul strikes at the heart of this foundational belief. By depicting souls as imbued with specific traits and personalities prior to their earthly existence, the film does more than offer an alternative viewpoint. It fundamentally challenges the cornerstone of numerous religious and philosophical doctrines. Where traditional beliefs advocate for a soul molded and defined by the journey of life, Soul proposes a prescripted identity, undermining the very notion that our earthly experiences are instrumental in sculpting our moral and spiritual selves.